listening to The Ken Coleman Show. Singing solo from a choir of Chicken Littles, Ken Coleman.
It's hour number 2, and I am absolutely fired up. I love when I have guests in studio, but I'm about ready to introduce you to a fantastic lady. Webb is my guest live today, and I'm going to introduce you to her because I got to tell you, you know when you meet somebody and there's like a kindred spirit and you go, oh, okay, we might be related in different worlds. I don't know. I have no idea. But this lady is fantastic, and it's going to be great. She's going to be on with us the next 30 minutes. And then right before KDB joins me, we're going to talk about some fun ways, dads, moms, to make sure you have a good family vacation, right? We're still in family summer vacation, and I was laughing, and Joe's got a clip from Summer Vacation, the classic National Lampoon, how to help you not be Clark W. Griswold, right?
Oh, everybody wants to be Clark.
I know, but we don't want to be Clark and show up at Wally World when the parking lot is empty. Right? Can we agree?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, hey, folks, if you want to join in the conversation, you can. It's 800-552-9386. That's for those of you listening outside of the North Georgia area on WDUN. And then the local number is 770-535-2911. Well, about a month and a half ago, I guess it was, I spoke at the Gwinnett County Chamber of Commerce. And I met some fantastic people there. But I was back at the book table signing books, Joe, and this light in the form of a lady with fantastically red hair shows up, and she's got a big smile on her face, and she says, "Hello, I'm BB." Now, when someone introduces themselves as BB, you're just already paying attention. So even if you're in this malaise and you say, okay, well, that's kind of interesting. You don't meet many BBs. Well, I met BB, and we had a great conversation, and I knew that there was a kindred spirit, as I mentioned earlier. I went out to see her at her fabulous business, the Carl House, and I'm going to talk about that. If you all have not experienced the Carl House, I can't wait. We'll talk more about that later. But anyway, we had coffee, didn't we, BB?
We had coffee.
And then we went around the grounds, and we dreamed together, and there was all kinds of stuff. And I said, hey, I got to get you on the show. So without any further ado, BB Webb, welcome to the Ken Coleman Show.
Well, it's great to be here, and I've just so enjoyed listening to your show. It's so much fun.
Well,
I'm cheering in the back. Yes.
Yes. Well, and she delivered some amazing flowers that day. It was unbelievable. All right, so let's dive right into this because there's why I've got her on the show, people. She is an entrepreneur. She is a speaker. She is an actress. I mean, she's done it all. And when talking with her, I realized that you and I both have a drive to live out our sweet spot that I always carry on about, right? That intersection of our greatest strength and greatest passion, and you certainly embody that.
Well, exercising our potential.
Yes. And so we're going to talk specifics about the Carl House a little bit later, but I want to talk about first, as you're out there speaking, because you have taken this successful business of the Carl House and you've turned it into so many different things, but you speak a lot about passion and specific business issues. But my favorite topic that you speak about, without a doubt, is finding your twirl. And that's such a fantastic lady way of saying, hey, find your twirl. So I want you to define, what does that mean? And then when you speak to audiences, what's that core message?
Okay. Well, to me, finding your twirl is finding your passion, finding your verve, what makes you want to get up in the morning and live your life. And I think we've all been at times in our life where we feel like we're in that sweet spot and we love it, and there's other times where we're just not quite there. And I know I've certainly had a lot of ups and downs in my business where I feel like I'm in that spot where I'm passionate and I'm living on purpose. I'm making the difference I want to make. I'm exercising the possibilities. And then there's other times when we're not. And I think it's really up to us to look at, I call it possibility thinking. How do we look at the possibilities for creating the kind of life that we want to live in?
That's so true. I want you to take us back because you're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of the Carl House. And we'll talk more specifics about the Carl House
later. And I look younger every day.
Yes, she does look fabulous, doesn't she, Joe? I mean,
radio's so great, isn't it?
But you're coming up on your 10th anniversary on July 5th, and you were sharing with me some stories that we'll keep between us about there were some tough times, as any business owner goes through. But I want you to talk about adversity. We have a lot of small business people out there that are listening, entrepreneurs. Take us through a bit of your story of adversity and what you learned coming out of it.
Absolutely. Well, in 2008, everything changed, and every year I call it my personal growth sojourn, and I go somewhere in the world to expand my mind. And I came back, and my rose-colored glasses were seeing things differently, and I came back to a $42,000 septic issue. I found that I had the wrong people in charge, not their fault, but it just wasn't to take me forward. I had a loan that was going to be taken off the books that was huge. My partner defaulted on the 30 acres I have. I mean, just lots of things that it just seemed one thing happened after another, and I had to create solutions and a mindset to get through that. And that's really where I developed what I call moving forward as if, that when there's so much adversity that you've got to have a picture of what you envision and what you want and what you need, and that when the little Debbie Downers come, and there's lots of them out there, they want to drag you down, you just have to be adamant on, no, I'm not settling for less, and, la, 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 not listening to the negative stuff, and just being a solution monger. And the people I hire now know that when there's a challenge, I'd rather call it a challenge than a problem. Great, bring me the challenge in the business, but I want you're hired for solutions, so come in with 2 or 3 solutions that we can entertain. But there were some really dark times where I felt so alone and just kind of like, gosh, you start a business with this idea because you want to make people happy, and it almost was like, Ken, it was so conspicuous. I had a friend say at one point, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe in 1 year the things that happened. But, I think we all have a choice to turn it around, that I thought, my gosh, I get to experience all this. It's making me a better business person, and now I get to go share it with other people.
Wow.
And that's what really got me through it, being a little bit of a Pollyanna, because I really want to make a positive difference, and I think most people do. But there were times, dark nights of the soul, where, there's one time when I lost it in my house. I thought I was having just an absolute nervous breakdown, yelling at my dog. I never, I have these blessed hounds.
Those poor dogs.
Know it. But, finally just going, God, I have not a clue what to do.
Wow.
And, when you start asking, there's help there, but you have to be awake enough to see the gifts in front of you.
Wow, now that's really good. Folks, you're joining my conversation with BB Webb. She is the owner of Carl House. She's a fantastic speaker. You still are an actress at heart.
Well, I don't know. I guess once an actress.
Once an actress and always an actress.
Ask my staff.
That's right. And but she is talking about the early days of the Carl House, right? And she comes home to these problems, and it's unbelievable. And got about a minute and a half, and I want to give you the rest of the time here, because you're talking about that. And I love that you kind of said, well, I was Pollyanna, but what you said at the end was really true. You weren't Pollyanna. You looked at these things and you said, I've got 2 choices. Either I'm going to work through these things and see them to the end and come out on the other side, or else I'm shut down anyway.
Well,
so why not go for it?
Failure was just not an option.
Yeah, I love that.
And there were so many people, employees that I felt, I had a responsibility for. The loans,
sure.
Certainly my brides and all the people. But
question for you: was there a shift when you made that decision? At some point, you went, "All right, I am pressing through. Failure is not an option." What began to happen?
Well, it was interesting when I started asking for the help, inside myself, instead of just being so consumed with the fear, because there were points where it just felt so fearful. It was it was all just like a cliche. I remember there was a thunderstorm going on outside. I'm losing it. And it's one thing when you get angry, I think that can be healthy, but I felt a rage where you feel hopeless, helpless, and powerless. And, when I literally fallen to my knees, just going, oh my God, what do I do? And the phone rang, and I was, yelling to my dog and being very ugly and saying some very naughty words. I was just freaking out, and I answered the phone in my middle of my freak out, thinking, oh my gosh, nobody has my number except the alarm system and 2 neighbors who live pretty far away. And I get this, hey, BB, this is your neighbor Carol, honey. Everything all right over there? I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. And I said, oh gosh, Carol, I was just getting a little upset with my dog Ernie, and she goes, that's okay, honey. And I said, I'm so sorry about, my language. She said, oh honey, that's okay. It was thunder and lightning. We didn't hear anything. But sweetheart, we're here if you need us. You just let off steam. We're here if you need us. And that was the message. It's like there's people there who will help you, and just surrounding yourself with the right people.
That is so good. That is the voice of BB Webb. She's a local entrepreneur. She runs a fabulous business called the Carl House. We're going to detail that, and we're going to talk about her initial vision for it and what that can do to inspire others who want to launch something. That and so much more next. This is The Ken Coleman Show.
He's in his sweet spot to help you find yours. The Ken Coleman Show.